Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news tonight out of Jackson, New Jersey, where it seems as if Six Flags Great Adventure is now entering into the teaser campaign season. Just this past weekend, one of our good fans sent us an email with this image that's up in the park right now. As you can see, it's a black sign with a Starburst logo in the middle. It says the future is imminent. To schedule a tour of Star Labs, call Silas and Eleanor Stone, and it lists a phone number there. So Danny, just a few things before we go into this. I know you're not a huge comic book guy. I'm not a huge DC guy either. I had to look this one up myself. But Silas Stone is actually the father of Cyborg. Now, Danny, you may not know who Cyborg is. Are you a Teen Titans fan? You look like a Teen Titans fan.
Teen Titans. No, I to be completely honest with you, I am not very well versed in the whole comic book superhero world. I'm well versed in a lot of weird things, but the comic book superhero world is not one of the things that I am extremely knowledgeable in. I guess I know the names, I know the characters, and I know who the good guys and the bad guys are. But I don't know a lot of the inner workings and like the in-depth relationships. Not like Star Wars. Like Star Wars, I know what's going on. Star Wars, I know like who's who and what like all the story. I don't know the in-depth like the backstories, if you will, and the character backstories that I do quite as much with super. I know some of the general, what everybody knows, but I don't know a lot of the inner workings of some of the comic book superhero.
Well, if you might recognize Cyborg. He's the guy. He's the robot-looking guy that stands in Justice.
Right, I know. You're right. I know who Cyborg is. Yep.
So so it's interesting that his dad is on this, who also worked for Star Labs. But Danny, I have an idea here. There's a phone number. Why don't we call this phone number?
We should call the phone. Yeah, we should call the phone number.
Let's call the phone number.
All right, let's call the phone number live on air here.
Yeah. So okay.
I like this idea. We haven't done this before.
Now there's an extension too.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for calling Six Flags Great Adventure and Safari.
Oh, there we go.
And Six Flags Hurricane Harbor.
So this is the extension here.
Thank you for calling Star Laboratories in Metropolis. We're glad you're interested in taking a tour of our facility. Here at the Scientific and Technological Advanced Research Labs, we strive to teach everyone of all ages the amazing things science and technology can do together. We've been developing new technology using inspiration from gyroscopes, gravimeters, and accelerometers, just to name a few. I spent a lot of my childhood in these labs with my parents, and you wouldn't believe the things technology has done for me. But anyway, all of our tours are currently booked until the end of the month. So look for more information on August 31st, as new openings will be coming soon.
So right off the bat there,
August 31st, we know is the announcement date already, so that kind of
confirms that. Also, speaking on that phone right there, if you hear he says my parents, so that's actually Cyborg talking to us.
I was going to say, that kind of sounds like, and I just was recently down at Six Flags over Georgia and rode the first time I ever rode one of the Battle for Metropolis rides, and very much enjoyed it, for those of you who are curious. And I was going to say, it sounds quite familiar there.
Now, I think it's funny that they mention a few things here. They mention accelerometer, gyroscope.
The gyroscope word kind of sticks out to me a little bit here. That's
the gyroscope.
Usual word. Accelerometer is kind of basic when it comes to physics. Gyroscopes, not so much. And I did this as soon as I heard that word. I Google image search gyroscope theme park ride, and I got something actually kind of interesting here. For those of you who are Planet Coaster fans, so the gyroscope, if you know Roller Coaster Tycoon and the original Roller Coaster Tycoon series, you would recognize a gyroscope as the Space Rings attraction, where it's like 4 little rings in a square little flat ride. It doesn't really do anything. But one of the other things that popped up here, if you're a Planet Coaster fan, is something that in Planet Coaster is called the Cube. I believe it's called the Cube. I'm not sure if it's in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 or not, but it's essentially 3 big squares that rotate about 3 different axes. And it gives you your X, Y, and Z rotation, and then the carriage which is attached to the innermost of the squares, also rotates. And we're keep in mind here with the Six Flags thing we talked a few weeks ago, we're looking for North American firsts. We're looking for, some sort of record. I do not believe there is anything quite like this in North America, Andy. And Canada's Wonderland, you would think if anyone had one in North America, it would be Canada's Wonderland. And I know they don't have anything quite like this. Now, I'm sure someone will correct us if there is something, but if you Google image search gyroscope theme park ride, the first thing that comes up will be an ABC Rides rendering.
Exactly. So, and now you may have also seen this, even if you don't play Planet Coaster. This ride recently has been making the rounds on Facebook as well, that if you are any sort of theme park enthusiast, someone's probably posted this to your wall on the last year or so.
That happens a lot.
This one has definitely been making the round, definitely a North American first. So you wonder, and it looks like a pretty small installation. It looks like about the same amount of space that would take up maybe a top scan or a top spin. It doesn't look like
it's a rendering. Those are actual photographs.
Those are photographs. That's not a rendering.
That's an actual thing. I thought it looked like a rendering to me, but this is the thing that they've already built.
Yeah, So this, you can actually find some good videos of this one at different places. So definitely, I think this would fall into the North American first, and it looks like a pretty good flat ride to install into these Six Flags parks. And it once again, it fits what John Duffy told us at the ACE conference so many months ago. Plus, looking at the theme of this one, I think it's Cyborg's going to play a huge role in the new Justice League movie.
And with the new path that goes down to the Justice League Dark Ride down that now, to be fair, I haven't been to Great Adventure yet this year. I will be there in a few weeks for Riding of the Bull Nueve, the weekend after Labor Day, and we'll get a chance to ride theirs then. But I do know where it is because of Riding of the Bull last year. I know where it's located. And they've kind of opened up a new path to go back there. And there's always talk about, if something's going to take up the old Chiller spot, and if they are going to kind of like close out Gotham because they have Batman, then they kind of have like this empty, space where there's just nothing really going on over there. This would seem like they could very easily fit it in there and do some sort of superhero type theming for it. I don't know if it becomes part of Gotham by itself where Batman and the Dark Knight is. Justice League is over there, so I don't know. And they have like the Justice League shop. I don't know if it's actually called the Hall of Justice. I think it might be, or at least at one point it was. So maybe that it turned into like a DC area, even though Superman and Green Lantern are kind of elsewhere. I don't know how they handle that, but I could see maybe some like Cyborg themed attraction. This kind of says Cyborg, doesn't it? It's kind of weird and mechanical looking. I could imagine it being very white and chrome and shiny for a time.
And well, yeah, exactly. And part of Cyborg's origin story is, I have to look this up because once again, I'm not that up on Cyborg that well. But the mother box, which is part of Cyborg's origin story, part of his thing. It's something called a mother box, and this looks like a cube. Might fit into that as well. It might be Cyborg's mother box, might just be called mother box, might just be called Cyborg. Who knows? But I think any of those fit a great bill of establishing a nice African-American hero in your park as well. We see Texas establishing, Wonder Woman. Maybe it's time to get some a little diversity amongst our superheroes inside the Six Flags parks. Would be nice.
Well, and Great Adventure has for over a decade now has been criticized for their removal of flat rides because they took out a lot of very unique flat rides in the early 2000s and shipped them off to different parks. One that folks out in the Midwest will know, I think it was called Excalibur, which is at Six Flags St. Louis, which is kind of like the pendulum the lay down pendulum, I think it is. Yeah. I never got to ride at Great Adventure, but that came from Great Adventure. Also several other flat rides, and more recently, Great Adventure has attempted to rebuild that. With the Sky Screamer, they put in the Scrambler again. They've been trying to diversify their ride collection, so this would kind of take another step towards that.
Absolutely. So hopefully we'll get a few more teasers before August 31st. It'll be interesting to see if this is the only thing they put out at Great Adventure. It seems like a lot, though, what they've given us here right off the bat, more so than most parks give us.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So as always, stick with us here. We'll have a lot more updates on what Six Flags is doing. I'm, of course, Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York, thinking outside the box.
As always, right on, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.